I believe that this project represents a very diverse group of Montanans coming together to overcome problems that have plagued the management of our public lands in the past, to put aside past differences, and to work together for a new model, a new vision for solutions around forest management, recreation, clean water, hunting and fishing opportunities, as well as a sustainable rural economy in which renewable energy can play a significant role.
From a timber perspective, this particular project provides a level of certainty that we haven't seen before, and they're providing predictable resources. So I think it's a way of producing projects to provide multiple benefits for a wide variety of interests. And from the timber side of the equation, we know if the right thing's done on the ground for the right reasons, volume, sawlog volume will be produced, and other materials will be produced that can go either to a cogen plant, pulp mill, or serve some other purpose.
Montour is kind of a special place. It's created a lot of memories for many of my guests, and of course a lot of memories for myself and my family. But it's a great resource to have that particular drainage in a designated wilderness. Right now, it's not designated. There's 18 miles of that trail that could be put into road, or could be logged, or could be done a lot of different things to it. We need to save that piece of land. This project, you know, when you designate wilderness, 87,000 acres of wilderness, you bring in the nation. This isn't just Montana's wilderness, and this isn't just Seeley Lake's wilderness or Pyramid Lumber Company's wilderness. This is Ohio, Pennsylvania, the entire nation. When we designate that wilderness, it's everybody's wilderness. And even a lot of my guests don't ever come to Montana, but they just write me letters and say, gee, I wished I could come to Montana, but I just can't afford it. But someday they'll come out and enjoy the wilderness that you made.
And you got to wonder about why a cow guy gives a rat about wilderness guys. And years ago, when I came in and met these folks, we'd never talk to each other. Now that's typical for a rancher. We don't talk to our neighbors. What's the point? The point is that you've heard all the great things about what this project will do on the ground. The part that makes sense to me, that makes me, the old heart pump a little bit, is about the people and communities. You all recreate and move in and out of the Blackfoot a lot. And there's 7 different communities. They're all totally individual, but they count to how that Blackfoot looks today. It's going to count to how this program is going to look for not my kids, but their kids and their kids. That's what's important. You know what's been wrong for years, generations? We don't talk to each other. This is a program that got right down in the dirt, came right to a man who would talk to me as a rancher, wondering what cows, wilderness, outfitters, all that, where does that come together? I know it's going to mean something for my community. It's based on economics, it's based on how my ranch is going to sustain itself for generations. And it's this, what's today? This is this wilderness. What's tomorrow? It's going to be something bigger. This is just the beginning of how we sustain Montana. We sustain the West.
Why do we support this project? It's not just because there's wilderness involved. We care deeply about the forest products industry in this state. We've seen it go downhill, as you have seen it. It's not just in Missoula, it's down as far as the Deer Lodge towns and all of these mills. And those are part of the local economy. We care deeply about that. We also have concerns about water quality in the state, habitat for wildlife, and of course the quiet backcountry trails. So basically the values that are expressed in this plan are the values that we share in backcountry horsemen. So we have this tremendous responsibility to be good stewards of this land. I think this project, the Blackfoot Clearwater Stewardship Project, is a fine example of how we, as this temporary steward of the land, can protect this for all those remaining generations yet to be seen.
But having spent a lifetime growing up there, it's real interesting because in my formative years, what I watched was a lot of people focused on what they could take. You wanted to take fish, and you wanted to take wildlife, and you wanted to take wood fiber, and you wanted to take grass, and everybody wanted to take something. And then you took what you wanted, and then whatever was left, that was left. This is a 180-degree shift from that. And it didn't just start here, but this is a furthering of the philosophy of it's not about what you take, it's about what you leave behind. And that, in a nutshell, is stewardship. So some of the questions that have been asked here are awesome questions, because we need to remember that we are not talking about a static situation here. We're talking about a dynamic situation. So we have the natural world that's going to affect some of our decisions and how this plays itself out. We're going to have our own desires and our own priorities that are going to affect this. But what this does is that it says that these are some great tools that we can use to be better stewards of our resource, and that we can become the role model of how we try to do that. And so, as a person who's lived their whole valley, or their whole life in that valley, it's just a progression of some of the things that have already transpired there, and I think we need to give it our full support.